Hello, everybody. This is Don Aapo for Veneto.fm, and in this episode we are discussing the revelation of art and whatever that means. So welcome to the latest episode of the Veneto.fm podcast. I guess we could call it that. So welcome. And I kinda wish that I had tea now, so I just was writing in my blog about something, and I decided to now start recording this. And I'm trying to make this the longest episode I have yet made. So, yeah. So I'm challenging myself to do this art marathon. So this is a part of it. And this episode is called The Revelation of Art. And it means, revelation means, what does mean revelation? An act of revealing to view or making known. Something that is revealed, especially an enlightening or astonishing disclosure, shocking revelations. It means like you get knowledge from God, right? Like Moses did from the burning bush, and after that he got the 10 Commandments. Actually, many religious teachings are based on revelations. Alright, so the revelation of art, of course, then is art making known. Making art known, or a shocking disclosure of art. So this is kinda a realization that I had about creating art, that I should really be creating more of it, and it's kinda shocking in its nature, I think. This revelation that I got. I guess you call it shocking enlightenment. But there's also this thing called Satori, which is like enlightenment, and it's actually ecstatic. So I think revelations can be ecstatic. They are like they are ecstatic in their nature. So an ecstatic revelation, that is the topic for today's discussion. And I'm actually really interested in religions in that way. And I decided to use this image for the podcast of this moon and star symbol that I created. And I do think that it looks pretty cool. And I would really love to like one day have my own house and at least my own apartment to live in, like maybe rent is okay, to maybe buy it, maybe rent it anyway. So anyway, first I will be renting, so renting a house and then really designing it to be as beautiful as possible and buying all kinds of beautiful objects in there, like paintings and maybe instruments, musical instruments, and have a studio in there and I have all kinds of this stuff. So that would be really enjoyable to have one day. I wonder if making a podcast is enough to buy a house. I guess because these days the world is pretty digital. So if you can get your foot in the door in the digital world, then I guess at least you can rent a house, right? And rent an apartment and design it to be as beautiful as possible. And I really do enjoy that because I'm an artist, so I think creating like that is just very, very cool. So this is a part of the revelation that I've recently had about art. So yeah, get a nice apartment, create an like a holy altar in there and put paintings in there and so get a nice apartment and design that to be as cool as possible. I think that's pretty awesome because the space you live in, that's like sacred, right? I think in Tantra, because Tantra is actually a tradition of householder yogis. Householder yogis, so they kinda had this thing where they were on the spiritual path, but they weren't like monks and nuns in that fashion that they would be in a monastery, but they had houses and they were householders. So I think a part of that tradition is artistic in that way that probably they had to have some means of doing worship as they were living their lives just like normal people would, I guess. So that is the revelation of art. I just played the piano for a little while because I got a little bit distracted when recording, but now I'm back. So yeah, I wrote in my blog earlier that about the passage of infinity. The passage of infinity. I made this blog post, so I wrote in that blog post that I can repurpose everything that I'm written, and it can almost work like a script for something else. So I think here it goes. So the passage of infinity. I tend to think that writing is very productive and it can be done in many ways. I do think that writing every day is one of the most productive things I am doing. Written text has really changed how the world works, and some of the best pieces of art ever made are in the written form. One technique I got for you today is to report what you're doing and what you're feeling like and what your ideas like. What are your ideas like? So to contemplate with text, it can be okay to contemplate within the text that you are writing. If you want to learn how to write like the best, just read the books of your favorite authors. For example, writing every day just something about what you're doing and what is happening can be a productive thing. Over time, the process will become glorious. For example, one subject might be to write about is if you're doing some sort of spiritual practice like meditation or yoga, is to write about how your sessions are going like. Just any sort of reports about what's going on can be a really productive format to go with. I recommend to go with some text every day, as that can really lead to some epic results further down the line. Making a project like this is legendary, it's really like making history. So document your life. It's almost like a script for a movie you're the head character in. For example, I tend to write this blog post and just put them out there for people to read, and they can be later repurposed into any other forms of art, even paid forms like books or audiobooks. I do think that writing can be a #1 skill to learn if you want to run a business in the internet. Being a great writer has many benefits, and it can make people interested in your work in a long time horizon. So yeah, in this way I kinda am in this kinda very creative space when I'm writing every day, because I can really use my own stuff later. As I've written it down, I can really use it, like I said, it's like a script for the movie that you're the head character in. So even reading this out now on a YouTube video, I ended up making a little bit of money off of, like, just ad revenue of this writing session that I did. Because I have the content in here which I can then use in a video. So approach your project like a warrior would and see what will happen. I'm basically going for 1000 words every day and or 30 minutes of writing, and many people out there suggest this strategy for doing business, and I do think that is a fine method. The finest method. This is the passage of infinity. It's our meeting with the creative source within all living things, including ourselves. It is a poetic place that we come in contact with when we decide to get creative in this way. And if you're wondering where to start, just start with describing your day or something like that. Anything can work, there are no real rules to what you're producing, it's your creation after all. Just keep writing, and if you're met with writer's block, then just keep going and try to produce just anything. Literally don't filter what you are writing at all, and just come up with something that can really work well in the long run. For example, I am 500 words deep into this blog post, and I just have to come up with 500 more. And I am feeling a little bit tired, but deciding to keep going with it will ultimately lead to that success happening of 1000 words written. So yeah, these are some of my top tricks. If you need more, I got more coming. Don't give up. Never give up on the process and keep going with it. You will see many great results if you just keep chipping at it. I just have to make some words happen here, so let's keep going. Maybe have a cup of coffee if that's your thing and take a break and keep going. Our coffee fueled writing rampage. So I decided to write about the passage of infinity, and that means meeting with the creative force of the universe. Oh yeah, by the way, while reading this, remember to relax your jaw and breathe into your heart and feel the fullness. Then release, exhale into the crown of your head and feel the surrender. At first, do this, then let it happen on its own while not even doing it. And yeah, so the creative intuitive force. It is said that our intuitions are love, that our creations come from a creative impulse within us that is the same as love. That is immense and pretty awesome, I would say. Whatever that you want to create, you can become the person to create it. I do think that this is the case. If you want to write, you can do that. If you want to speak, you can. If you want to make music, you indeed can. Any intuitions that we might have, we ought to journal about. That way we can gain clarity on what we actually want to happen and what we would like to do the most. Sometimes we ask ourselves the question of what makes us happy or what is our passion, and I do think that journaling on that subject can help out a lot if we are looking for a cool way to spend our time. Promise to never forget. Never forget that our lives are about being creators of beauty and goodness and exalted things. We as artists are meant to create art that moves the world, believe it or not. I'm personally going with a plan that I want to be in creator mode more, less of just sitting around and doing something else and rather just focusing my time on creating meaningful things like all the time. That could mean doing 6 hours of writing sessions and or music making session and just creating a big volume of work, since I have the time available on my hands right now to go with it. How much can be done? Who truly knows the answer to this question of how much can be done, but I think it is a lot, and I am definitely wanting to experiment with that. Sometimes it's fun to explore reality in this way and to see how much can truly be done if I set myself some cool goals to work at. For example, to create a lot of text in 3 days and 3 nights or so. Some of the great works around have been made in this way, I think, through exploring one's creativity. Although it might not be sustainable to constantly create all the time, I do think that sometimes the time to do it is. Creation marathon. So definitely I am feeling like doing a marathon of creation, and I sure am hoping that they will give me a Guinness World Record for this. Just like Wim Hof gets Guinness records in withstanding cold, I could do a similar challenge to that. Sky is the limit. So thanks for reading, and I wish you the best of luck in your creative pursuits. So that's one reason why I think that writing is really cool, because it really is like a script that you have that can even be sold. If you make it really creative, it can be used in video content. That thing that you have written, and you literally are the copyright owner for it. Because you've written it, so you're the one that if they want to if someone wants to buy your text for a script, then I think that's how it works, that they would then of course pay you for it. And one of the easiest methods these days is with this with this new kind of internet era when we can all have our own TV podcast. We can literally create a TV show for people these days with YouTube and other platforms, and we can host content on our personal channels. So I think that repurposing that which you have written into YouTube videos, for example, is a great way to make it more popular, the content that you produced, because YouTube is really a good place to get organic growth. To grow organically, to literally just get the attention of some people. In YouTube you can do that these days. YouTube is a really good place for that, to get more people interested in what you have to say, because a lot of people spend a lot of time in YouTube, and if they just stumble upon your video, then you're pretty much set and you can do as you please. And one great way is, I just kinda demonstrated here, is literally just repurposing your text that you've written to make it into a YouTube video, or just read out your blog posts. And I have this edge that I have written quite a bit of text, so I have a lot of content to repurpose. And to be honest, when you don't have to think about what you have to say all the time, it really takes a lot of the pressure off of you creating YouTube content. So you can even, if you have like hundreds of blog posts, maybe you can create one video per day if you want to. Like, I think you can make as many YouTube videos as you want to make. Like, I don't think there's any rule that you cannot make 2 videos per day. And I do know that some big media outlets out there, like big newspapers and those things, they make more than one piece of content every single day. Like, I'm talking about these big media companies. So they tend to have a lot of content producers who are working for them, and then they have a subscription that you can subscribe to them, or I think they show ads otherwise. But there's literally like big companies making money out there through creating content, and we can get those same tools that these companies have. So that really reminds me of what Gary Vaynerchuk used to say, that think like a media company. So if you think like a media company, then what really is the limit? Like, what's the limit of your business? Because, yeah, you can make a YouTube video every single day if you want to, like, especially if it's a short form. Like, I could repurpose my blog posts into YouTube Shorts, for example. So that's why I do believe that writing is our #1 skill to have. If you write every day, you have a lot of content to post, and you can always talk about your own ideas in that way, because you have literally made them concrete, practical, and saved your ideas up for later use. So it's really creative in this way to be a writer. So that's why I think that writing is something that, if you want to do business in the internet, which I guess I'm kinda trying to talk with people who want to have a business in the internet, because I want to have a business in the internet. And I've been actually experimenting with my first websites I created 5 years ago. I created my first website, and since then I've been kinda dabbling in and out of online content creation, and right now I'm deciding to focus more on it. So being a writer in this way is really a great skill to have, because you are literally coming up with content, and content is what the internet runs with. So for example, in my blog I've written 60,000 words. So if I just were to make those in the YouTube Shorts now, like, I would have like content for 1,000 YouTube Shorts. And if every shorts get 100 views and I make 1,000 shorts, then that's already 100,000 views that I'm getting. And creating 1000 shorts, like literally creating one shorts takes 1 minute. Creating one short takes 1 minute, so it's like 10 to 20 hours of work for 100k views. So you can literally just work 1 week and you'll be getting 100,000 views. So just imagine if you create shorts and you get only 100 views, but you create 1000 shorts because you have the content to talk about in them. So you literally don't have to do the work anymore because you're a writer, so you have a lot of ideas to share. So just creating 1000 shorts, YouTube shorts, can literally change your life and your career, because you will be getting so much attention from new people that you might want to buy from you later, or you can just help these people out. And if you help people out in the internet, then people tend to talk about that with their friends. If you really give a lot, like you just focus on giving a lot, like you come up with the best ideas to share in your YouTube shorts, and you just share those. Over time, that can really compound to you being an authority in your field. And for me, my blog isn't getting nearly as much traffic as my YouTube page is getting, because I do think that Google and blogging in YouTube, it's a really competed field, and YouTube still does have an opportunity, I think, that if you create shorts, you just might get 100 views per short, even if you are starting out, at least with a little bit of time and effort, a little bit of energy you use in creating YouTube shorts. Just imagine if you were to create 1000 shorts. If it's 2 minutes of work per YouTube short, then it's 2000 minutes you are using, and 2000 minutes, that's like 30 hours of work. If you just use 2 minutes of work per short, that's 30 hours of work you are doing. So that would be probably the best paid 30 hours of work you can do. Like as an entrepreneur, you can really change your career if you create 1000 YouTube shorts. You can really make a lot happen in there. So yeah, if you write, then you have ideas to share. For example, I can easily make 1000 YouTube shorts because I have like thousands of pieces of text these days. If you just write one thing every day, that can be your short. So you just write something, just a few sentences, you make that into a YouTube short. And for example, you make 4 YouTube shorts every day, and they are about your own ideas about what you have written. So it should be really easy, and maybe use your face to do it, or maybe just don't do it with your face and rather like make non-face content, whatever is your style is all about. So how long would it take to create 1000 shorts? Well, I guess the best posting schedule must be something like, I guess you can make 4 shorts per day. For example, like I really don't know what's the optimal number of content to create, but I think that you can create like 4 shorts per day, for example. I think you can do more if you want to. Just look at the view counts, how many views you're getting, are people interested, and just kind of wing it with that. I don't think there's a magic number to do it. You might just want to make 20 if you want to. 20 shorts per day. They do get views. There's always the people around who watch every video that you make, cause those would be your fans, of course, who really love the stuff you're making. So even if you create 30 shorts in one day, probably there would be someone who watched them all. So just make them nice and make them like productive and make them your own way, and the sky is the limit. So how about for me it's now I want to focus a little bit on creating YouTube content because I really do enjoy creating YouTube the most. From all the things I've done in my professional career right now, making YouTube interests me the most because I tend to get the most engagement in YouTube, and I really want to grow my channel to be a big one that has helped out a lot of people. Because I really like that thing that I just go to sleep knowing, hey, today my business served and helped a lot of people. I really like to go to bed with knowing that I gave it all to contribute to the lives of other people too. So if you create 4 shorts per day, then in 100 days you get 400 new videos, and I do think that's pretty okay. As a posting schedule, you will be getting a lot of attention, and YouTube Shorts is, I would say, it's one of the best ways to market yourself right now. So yeah, long form content. I guess if you make one long talk per week and 4 shorts per day, then you are on your way to growing your YouTube channel organically and growing your business, and at some point generating sales through that effort. So yeah, and why not also create TikTok if you want to. Like, I think TikTok, it can be just as good as YouTube or even better. I'm not exactly sure. I'm just guess I'm old school and prefer YouTube. But you just might want to maybe create YouTube Shorts and TikToks, whatever is it that you prefer, if you are interested in content creation. And if you have an interest in content creation, then I think that it's really good to seize that opportunity and just create a lot of content. It's really simple to do. It doesn't take that much effort, I think, and it can really make your life a lot richer if you are a content creator. For me, definitely, it has been my top hobby for quite a while to just create content. So yeah, so that's my 2 cents this time around. I'm probably keeping this video at this length, so yeah, so remember to write, I would say, if you like to write. If you don't, like, I know there's people out there who don't write and they are just doing fine and their lives are good still, but I do think that remember to write just a little bit, even if you just in your journal or show your work in your blog, whatever it is. And for me, I'm probably going to create a few shorts now, so just to test out my theory of creating 1000 YouTube shorts in a few months, or maybe 2 months would be a nice time frame to post 1000 shorts, so just around 4 or 5 shorts every day. And just reading aloud my blog content, and it just might mean that my career is taking a next step in that way. So thanks for listening, and be sure to leave me a like, because it really helps me out, and drop me a subscribe and drop me a comment also, and see you the next time.